Hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Carroll. Welcome to the Sales Factory. Another episode with you today. Boy, I got my man Nick Sakha in the building, and I got a gem for you. This cat gets social media, and you guys know that I love social media. Big fan of it. So I'm excited to have Nick in the building. This guy is a baller. Built an $18 million PNC business. For those of you that aren't in the insurance space, that's property and casualty. And this guy did this in 7 years. Nick, we got people that listen from us for, guys that are 13 years old, just bought a lawnmower, starting their first business, all the way up to big ballers, big dogs like you. And so, listen, this guy helps agents scale. If you're not following him on Instagram, it's at Nick Sakha, NickSakha. Funny story before we get started, when Nick came across my radar back in October of 2017. I think he had a promoted Facebook ad that was running, and I saw it in Kentucky. Probably an honest mistake. I don't think he writes insurance from Las Vegas all the way out here. Maybe I will explore this. But I said, hey, man, saw your promoted post all the way over here in Louisville, Kentucky. We can help you with your targeting and your whole campaign if you want. Visit modernmarketingforagents.com. And I would love to tell you that Nick left me on red, but he didn't even read it, man. So we're going to explore this and very much more in today's episode of the Sales Factory. Nick Sakha, welcome, my man. Welcome.
Hey man, I'm grateful to be here, man. I'm sorry I didn't even see your message. I probably definitely sent just a mass ad, and it probably just went all over the country. And then when you do that, how it targets like other people kind of in
Oh
your
yeah,
space. And so
yeah,
I've
man.
seen that before. So yeah, my apologies.
Oh man, it's all good. Hey, you're making up for it, brother. You came here in the Sales Factory, and listen, Nick was asking me. He's like, I don't even really know how we got connected. Look, dude, we work with literally hundreds of Allstate agents, and I got to tell you, one out of every couple dozen are like, oh, okay, so like this is like social media stuff like that Nick Sakha guy does, and I'm like, yeah, you got to make content, man. Like this is, the number of people that still think that social media is like a fad, right? I keep telling them, I'm like, you don't want to be the plumber that in 2017 still doesn't have a website, right? But that's what we see, man. We see guys that just don't activate with it, don't engage with it. And I know you just dropped a big chunk of change. I think something almost the $30,000 mark on a brand new studio. So I'm excited today to dig into what social media does for you, how it's helped you grow your business, why you're such a big advocate of it. But before we get there, tell us how Nick Sakha got to today in the seat in the Sales Factory, growing a multi-million-dollar PNC agency. How did it all start, man?
Yeah, so how it all started was I was a banker for 7 years. You know, that was my first taste of like real sales, customer service, management, things like that. Almost got fired a few times because it was around the time I turned 21. I was doing a lot of different things. I was trying to get my bachelor's in business degree. I was doing Forex trading. I was doing Amway, network marketing. um, I was just trying to do too many things. And at one point, just hunkered down, focused on school and my bank career, and then finally started growing and advancing. And then from there, as soon as I got my degree, 7 years later, just decided I wanted to be a business owner. Wasn't sure how, and I quit banking. Went to go work with a business client that I had at the time. Was selling mobile apps,
Mm,
business to business, commission
okay.
only. That was a flop. After 90 days, I realized I just started having questions. I wasn't sure if I was working with the right guy, and I just wasn't sure if it was where I needed to be. And then had one last thing left to my name, which was my 401k that I contributed to when I was in banking for 7 years. Didn't even know how much I had in it. Didn't even know I had it, or wasn't sure if I could access it, because just one of those things like, oh, I gotta wait till I retire for this thing, right? Uh, but one of my best friends, he opened up an Allstate office, and I just kind of saw his life. He was traveling. He seemed like he was just chilling and just enjoying life, and I wanted a piece of that. So he just said, dude, I would cash out that 401k, It would happen to be exactly the amount that I needed to start a scratch agency.
Wow.
And so I cashed it out, and through kind of our friendship and his guidance, he walked me through some of his pitfalls, um and then that's kind of how we got started. That's how we're here. And then for me, it's just it's something that I like insurance. I like what we've been able to create. It's fun. And now even going deeper, just being able to help my team and help
Yeah,
them
man.
grow. And through social media, I'm connecting with people. I've built a brand, and that's basically how we've gotten here.
That's wild, man. How many team members you up to now?
I want to say we're like 22 right now, 22 or 23.
It's legit, man. That's a real fucking business. And so that's cool because now you're starting to see the impact of like being a leader, right? Like that's I
Oh
always
yeah.
tell people like entrepreneurship, that there's stages of that entrepreneurship. And it's like once you get your head above water to where the bills stop coming on pink slips and you start building some team members and then you start becoming a true leader and you start to see that you're helping other people level up. That's like you can't put a dollar amount on that kind of stuff.
It becomes fun. I mean, that's the funnest part for me right now is helping my team and just seeing their lives change and just getting those text messages. You get that text message from your staff member that's like, "Man, I just want to say thank you." Like
Mm.
8 months ago, I was in this amount of debt. Credit score was this, and then after so on after X, Y, and Z, now I'm here, and it's just like, man, that's freaking awesome.
That's
So
cool, man. Gotta love
yeah.
that. Well, let's dive into the insurance side a little bit. You've been at this thing for 7 years. Well, what's maybe some of the biggest like mistakes or the like the no-nos, right, that you have like kind of come across in those 7 years? Because one of the things, like a lot of times with podcasts, they're very like surface level, 30,000 foot, and it's everybody's like egotistical, beating their chest, like, oh, I'm such a badass. That's why I'm here. Let me tell you all this cool stuff. But I really like to help my listeners that even if they're not in the insurance space, right, like you went through things as a small business owner, right? Just because you're in a certain industry, what are maybe some maybe a lesson, a big takeaway story that you can share with us that you're like, man, I won't do that again, but holy smokes, did I learn a lot from it? What pops in your mind when I ask you that question?
uh the biggest thing that pops in my mind has always been me focusing on too many different things at once. And if I would have done that sooner, I'd be so much further. Because like I said, like kind of part of my story, the reason why I was stagnant for so long was I tried to do too many things. And a part of me was like, oh,
Mm.
I got to finish college because I just want to make my dad always told me, like, my parents was always like, like, not even just my parents, like, you just hear it from society, like, finish school, go to college. And my degree, it's literally right behind this camera. It's just a nice little wall decoration. It's not doing nothing. Hadn't really served me with the exception of just network and finishing what I start. I would say that's about it. But the college experience was always cool. But
you
just
you seem like a guy that probably had a little fun in college.
yeah, man, I like the campus environment. I think that was fun. Now I wasn't a part of fraternities or nothing like that, but I just like just skateboarding across campus and that was fun to me, just meeting people,
Yeah.
that was probably one of the coolest parts for me. But trying to do too many things, man, it was my downfall. Like, because I was literally mediocre at all of them.
Mm.
At the time where I was trying to do too much, I lost my scholarship. I almost got fired from banking. That wasn't hitting my minimums. Um, my Amway business wasn't doing nothing. I was just buying products. Uh, and then Forex investing, like I started, I lost like 2 or 3 thousand, and that was a fortune back then, you know?
Hmm.
So just trying to do too much. And then even I hunkered down and I just focused on my insurance agency, primarily like just 100% focused on this. And now it's been 7 years later, and we have made a lot of progress. And I still suffer from it now. I have such a big vision, and it's all self-inflicted stressed because there's so much I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And but the good thing is that this I've taken care of this, and I'm still working at it, right? It's never ending. But because this is established now, I get to slowly focus on other things.
Yeah, man. I hear you saying doing too much, and it comes back to that principle of keeping the main thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think and that's happened to me, right? Like I've started other little side hustles, or like, when I invested into my real estate stuff, it was like I was taken away from my focus, was getting spread too thin in too many places. And that's why I tell kids now, and it's the messaging on social. We live in 30-second sound bites, and the problem is that kids, they don't they don't take the information the right way, I think, right? It's like they hear like the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. Well, Bozo, he didn't have 7 streams of income at 22 years old, right? Like that's the chat. Like they sometimes it's like, oh, I gotta do all these things. And you said you have such a big vision. I want to highlight that too, because visionaries are typically the entrepreneur, right? The entrepreneur is the guy that can have the vision and can say, man, this is what I can see before anybody else can. Let me go build it and make it happen. But the challenge is sometimes we can build in too many different ways, and instead of stacking momentum, and momentum becomes a very, very big thing in business. You probably have a sense of that now, 7 years in, right? Of like honing in on focus. You guys starting to get a cadence going. You're starting to build momentum. You're building your team. And that's when the magic in business really starts happening. That's when the cool stuff happens, when you can lock in on it. Talk to me a little bit. Let's shift gears a little bit about social media. When did you get started? I mean, obviously, like I saw an ad in 2017, which was crazy because like Carroll Media, my company, we didn't start until 2016. I ran my first Facebook ad in 2013, like 2 weeks after the platform started. So I'm definitely a practitioner in it, where I think a lot of guys that own marketing businesses, they're just like, they're sales guys, or they think like, oh yeah, here's our stuff we sell, right? And then they outsource it to their engineers. I pride myself in being a practitioner, but kudos to you, bro, because like in 2017, there were very few insurance agents that were running paid ads on social platforms. So what made you get started? Like, obviously you're a young guy. How old are you?
I'm 34.
Okay, yeah, I'm 35. So we're around the same age, right? So we kind of like graduated high school when this Facebook thing was kind of kicking off, right? So like we kind of grew up with it in our adult years. But other than that, like when did you go, hey man, I think this like should be a part of my marketing plan? Like where did that happen at?
Yeah, no, it's funny that you say that. We grew up in the best generation, man. I was just talking to my cousin about this the other day. It's like we grew up with no technology, and then we also grew up with technology. So we got to
Yeah.
see both worlds, right?
Yep.
Uh, but Facebook, MySpace, remember back in the day, like decking out your page and making it, adding a music, adding a beat to it, and just we got had a lot of fun with that. But I would just say that I knew social media was going to be a part of my strategy because one, I listened to a lot of Gary Vee and all those guys,
Yeah.
so it's like one, it's not going to go nowhere. But when I was in All-State training in Chicago, I remember being in a room and everyone's talking about their marketing strategy. What's it going to be? What are you going to do? And I knew that I was going to have to use leads to grow my agency. And transparently, internet leads is a huge part of my agency. We have an outbound process. We buy leads, we call on them, we have telemarketers, all that. But I also know that using social media is free, right? Like it's free. Like why isn't more people talking about this? And so I'm at the All-State training, and one of the biggest things that I said I was going to do was use my brand. I was going to literally contact every single person that I knew in every single walk of my life for insurance. But I was also going to post content to get them to think about me in the topic of insurance.
Mm.
And so
Hold on. I want to unpack that because that's big. You said I'm gonna post content that makes them think of me in the topic of insurance. So like to me, I'm like, boom, like aha moment there, because when agents are like, I don't know what to post, it's like, dude, just post your life with a little flavor of insurance on the end of it so they know what you're doing, right? Like not every video has to be like, hi guys, today I'm going to tell you about state minimum coverage limits and why you shouldn't have them, right? Like it doesn't have like because nobody's watching that shit, right? Like nobody's
Nobody,
paying
nobody,
attention to that.
nobody wants to see
I
that.
think I think there is a level of that where you can maybe make a video about the difference between whole life and term life and why you should use one over the other because that gives you like an expert status, you know what you're talking about. But what you just said there is like, look, man, I'm just going to make content so that they think about me in the light of insurance. I tell people all the time, Nick, when I say people, when we talk to agents, we work with several hundred all across the US, captive independents, and I tell them that nobody wakes up on a Saturday morning and goes, "Gee, it's a beautiful day. I think I'll go buy some more insurance." Like how
Nobody.
cool would that be? But it doesn't work, right? And I would love your take on this because like this is what I tell all my guys to tell the agents is like really people come into insurance in the buying cycle for one of two reasons. They either got a rate increase or they had a bad claims experience. You
Yeah.
guys have guardrails. You can't say like, "Hey, call Nick Sakha today, buy an auto policy, get your second auto policy half price," right? Like you can't do BOGO specials. There's confines around this on top of compliance, compliance, compliance. But is there anything? I mean, like to us, that's the only thing we've been able to figure out is keep yourself top of mind aware through
Mhm.
social, which is the cheapest, easiest way to do it. But keep yourself top of mind aware, however you got to do it, so that when somebody has a bad claims experience and wants to go shopping and fire their current guy, or they get a rate increase and want to go shopping, they go, who should I call?
Mm.
Uh, that guy I see posting all the damn time. Was it Nick? I don't even remember his last name. I think he's an
Yeah.
Allstate guy, like Nick Allstate. Because when they
Yeah.
go to Google and they search your name, Nick Sakha or Nick Allstate, dude, you don't have to pay for pay per click. You don't have to pay for SEO because Google's gonna show you. Like they know
Right.
who they're trying to get a hold of. What's your thoughts on that, man? Am I tracking? Are you on the same? Does that make sense? And is
Yeah.
why you're banging the content out like you are? Because you put out hell of content, man.
Yeah. No, I'm picking up what you're dropping. So one, I keep like listing things like I'm gonna list multiple, but what I would say is that everybody is on this device
Yeah, man.
on social media.
And if you're
They're
listening on this on audio, he's holding his phone up right now. You guys should be watching this on YouTube. But if you're listening to it on the podcast streams, I know you may be driving in your car or something. He's holding his phone up right now and saying, look, everybody's got a mobile device in their
yeah.
pocket.
Right. Everyone's on their phones and they're on the social media platforms most of the time consuming. I'm guilty of it. Like there's times where I'm just like, I look down at my phone, 40 minutes goes by and I'm just like, what the heck? And a lot of it is just consuming. And so I wanted to, I knew that I'm not going to just spam people on their feeds. I'm going to post content. I'm going to try to make them laugh. Humor is a great way to get people's guards down, to not take yourself too seriously.
Oh, man.
Humor is a great strategy if you can be funny. But I knew that people are on this app. They're not really watching TV commercials. They're not looking at billboards. And one time, Allstate did pay for a billboard for me. The first thing I did was I went and I took a selfie in front of it, and then I sponsored that ad to give people this perception that I'm a big deal. Like I got my first billboard, and that the thing you said earlier was, what should I post about? What should I talk about? For me, it's I never let a success or failure go to waste. If you're
Mm.
failing at something, you can be vulnerable and you can connect with your audience way easier than when you post like your wins and things like that. But posting every little success, when I was at the training in Chicago for opening my agency, I might have been the only guy there with like a little DSLR camera, just shaking. It's not gimbal. And if you go far enough into my feed, you will see that I hyped up my starting date. I hyped up November 1st, 2016.
Mm.
November 1st, 2016. I'm opening my something's cooking. I'm up to something, guys. November 1st. And then I finally announce it. Like, guys, I'm so grateful and excited to announce that I'm about to open up my very own, like real business. I've done a bunch of little businesses before, like network marketing ones, and failed at all of them. But it's my first real business, guys. And I would love the opportunity to quote you to see if I can provide you something better. And it's just that consistency of people don't trust you at first when you start something new, so you just got to stick to it.
Yeah,
But
man.
be in their face. Like I highlighted everything, man. So everything from my name going on the door to my business cards to my signage coming in and me hanging it up, my signage going on the building to, we just had our best month ever. Like my reminders, my memories on all the social media platforms are, we just had our best month ever, because I don't let that go to waste. And people want to do business with people that are winning, not someone that's like, struggling.
100%.
Um, and so that's what I just documented the entire process, and I'm still documenting. I'm
Yeah,
still using
man.
that story feature is very powerful. um and just kind of just showcasing everything. And as a result, it's helped me with referrals, it's helped me with candidates. Half of my team have come from social media in one way, shape, or form. Half of
Wow.
my team.
Wow.
Some of my best team members have come from someone that I knew that knew somebody that knew somebody, so on and so forth. I saw my hiring post. So
Holy
that's huge.
shit, man.
Um, and then referral partners. So, power players in mortgage, realtors, and just people that can refer you over business. They see you on social media. Everybody, it's cooler now because everybody wants to grow on social media. And so the people that want to grow on social media want to do business that have with people that have grown on social media because they're finally coming around to it. And
Yep.
so uh it's just snowballs, man. That's what I would say.
It's crazy because I don't think you've ever seen my secret agent webinar, right? Ever? I don't believe so.
No.
Okay, because what's funny is you literally just like highlighted three of the slides that are in there that I train on. One is document, document, document when it comes to creating content, because everything can be content. It's going up to the little front desk Susie and saying, "Hey guys, this is Susie. She's at our front desk. You'll see her if you walk into our office. Susie, what are you working on today? Oh, I'm just working on these Accord. Getting these certificates of insurance out to some of our contractors. It's like, cool, man. Hey, if you're a contractor, you want us to quote your insurance, reach out to us. We'd love to do it, right? Like you can take just whatever Susie's doing at that moment in front desk, and boom, it's content. The other piece of it is I talk about the three audiences that are on social, and now I'm going to have to go revamp it because Nick just changed my whole presentation for me. Is that I always say there's prospects, they're your current customers, and your referral network. But now I got to go add recruiting because half of Nick's fucking team came from social media. So it's like, that's a piece that I'd never even thought about, man. That, hey, somebody's going to see you and then want to come be a part of your team, because why wouldn't they? They literally can interview with you for 6 months. They can watch all this content you're making. All this. Man, look at this record month, record month, record month, record month. Okay, I want to go be a part of what Nick's building over there, because obviously they got some mojo going on, right? Like the
Yeah.
recruiting piece, dude, is huge. I never thought about that, and I just think it's so funny that you've never seen that presentation, you've never seen that webinar. It's like you're speaking it. That's why I was so excited to have you on, because we've had several agents that have signed up with us, and they're like they mentioned that. I mean, people have eyes on you, man, and in the all state space, right? They know you. Kevin Span's a client of mine. That's another guy that's in New York. Same situation. Dude's got a podcast. He's doing all kinds of stuff on social. There aren't very many insurance agents that play in this space. And I think it's because if you think about insurance in a historical sense, these were the guys that were buttoned up, right? Wear the suit and the tie and are very traditional and speak very proper, right? Like they'd never get on a podcast and just freelance with, free flow with me. But now it's like people don't do business with people like that anymore. That guy looks stuffy and boring, like I want to
Stuffy.
know, like you made a post the other day about like upgrading wifey's whip. Like, cool, man. That's cool. I like seeing that kind of stuff. It makes me feel like I know you, even though we've never met in person, right? And so, like, when you talk about building relationships with social media, people buy insurance, people buy things, people buy services from people, not companies. And I think that the sooner an entrepreneur realizes that, the faster they can grow their business, man. Whether it be a lawn care landscape kid at 13 starting his first business and just out there like posting a fresh clip of a yard going, striped up another one, it's like, or it's, a guy build an insurance business that's just had his best month ever and is like, here's my team, leave a comment down below and help me cheer them on. That's so powerful, man. So powerful. You mentioned something the other day. I watched your YouTube video. By the way, guys, he's got a great YouTube channel. Can they just search your name to find that, Nick? Is that the best way to go?
Yeah, it's Nicholas on YouTube.
Okay.
On my Instagrams is Nick
Okay.
Sakha, but YouTube Nicholas.
So you put out a ton of videos, like you kind of went for a really long time, and then maybe a little, that's ebbs and flows, man, of a business owner, right? But you got a ton of good content on there. I was watching one of your most recent videos talking about this new studio you built out, right, to do these podcasts and to do things, to make content. And in there, you said that you wrote like 6 figures worth of business last year, like from social. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, yeah. In the last 3 or 4 years, when I totaled up all the categories that are related to social media, it totaled up to over a half a million each year in business premium. So
Oh
our
man.
best year was 700K. And yeah, I mean, just from social media, we write a lot of internet leads, and we have a dialed in sales process where we're writing, a lot of business through there. But yeah, social media has always been big priority for me. I just pay attention. Just pay attention to what's going on in the world. And yeah, but writing a ton of business from there.
How do you track that, Nick? Because a lot of times I hear agents, they're like, well, how do I track what I get from social media? Because they didn't say I found you on Facebook and called right away, right? I always say, well, did you ask them, have you seen us on social? Because a lot of times your team will say, well, how'd you hear about us today? It's like, oh, I went to Google. Like, it's the phone book. Everybody goes Google. I always tell them, like, follow up script of like, have you seen us on social media? Oh shit, I see you all the time, right? What's some, like, how are you guys tracking that right now so that you can like go, all right, this is worth me spending my time and my money on?
Yeah. So I am using a thing called I need to become an affiliate for them because, agency Zoom, where when we upload a sale, we get to put the category of where we found this business. And so we have all sorts of categories from Google to the lead source to personal referrals, customer referrals. Social media has its own section, mortgage partners, dealership partners, and even other insurance partners, right? So that's how I'm tracking it. Where my team is encouraged to, not encouraged, like you have to put where you got this business from. I even got a section, I just added this section because I want to know the difference between a Nick's personal referral and a regular personal referral. And so I added that recently because 100% of my referrals comes from social media. And so
Wow.
yeah, like my because I I wouldn't say that a regular personal referral for me isn't from social media, because let's go back to the social media concept. They say, have you ever seen those statistics where it's like, this percentage of sales is made on the first contact, and it goes all the way
Yep.
to like 15 contacts or 12 contacts? Well, when you're
90%
posting
of sales are made after 8 to 12 touches. Yep.
8 to 12 touches, well, social media literally cuts that in half, because when you're posting, you could post about football. That's still a touch point.
Yeah, man.
When they can associate you with the product that you sell, that's a touch point. But you've got to ask for business. You can't, like, you've got to throw your straight, like, right hooks, like Gary Vee calls it jab jab, which is like value value value, and then the right hook is ask. You've
Yep.
got to ask for business. So if you follow me long enough, you're going to see kind of my rotation. You're like my pattern, where it's like I'll post inspirational, I'll post funny, I'll post my story, I'll post, it's just this and that. And then best believe from that eighth or ninth or whatever post is going to be like, hey, call me for insurance. Like, hit me up. You know what I mean? Like, hit me up. Don't hit up nobody else. Hit me up when you need insurance.
When your team's tracking that, Nick, like, is there a certain word track that they use? Is it other like, because I guess you guys probably have more advanced stuff built out than the average Joe insurance agent, right? Than this, like, making a post and they're like, oh yeah, I saw your post and decided to walk in. Because most of the time that doesn't happen, right? We tell agents all the time, like, your organic content you put out there, one, a lot of people don't understand it only reaches a small percentage of the people that already follow
Yeah.
you. You know, like that's when I see agents that like we'll have conversations and try to get them to run paid ads, and they're like, oh no, Susie makes a post a week for me. And it's like, Carl, you have 97 people following you. You're like, you might as well tell Susie not to post anything because like 3 people are seeing these posts when you put them out there. Like,
Yeah.
how does your team, like if they call in, like how are they tracking that social, or do you guys just have customers that are like, yeah, man, I see Nick all the time on fucking Instagram. That's why I called you guys today.
You know, my team isn't always asking, getting your team to ask for like, hey, how exactly did you find us? Right? Like, I don't want to hear like we have a walk-in section as a lead source, and I almost want to get rid of it because it's like,
Default.
how do we know that they just walked in? How do we know, like, that's a little weird. But I'll just say this, like, when you and your team are posting consistently and you're growing your Google reviews, which is also online presence,
Mm,
and um just you're treating your even your Google, this was a tip that I got a while back, was just treat your Google business profile as a social media profile. Like
yes,
add
sir.
photos on there consistently, show what your office looks like recognize awards and team and um, all this stuff, and that helps your online. So I know that so many insurance agents want to get like technical with, and they're like, I'm not going to invest in it, like, because I can't track the ROI. Well, dude, the only ROI that you really need to pay attention to is like, if you have kids, what are your kids doing? They're on their phones, like they're on social media, like people are on social media. So, um, it's just, I think we're getting to a point to where it's like, how did something not come from social media?
Okay, I like
The
that.
lead vendors, the lead vendors that you're buying from, guess where they're promoting their shit? They're promoting literally, like, social media is a giant, like you see so many ads nowadays, and that's where that's where the lead vendors are running ads on. So
Yeah, man.
it's just the close ratio is just so much higher for personal referrals. But to answer your question, uh if your team is posting consistently, and that builds a mortgage partner, like, let's just use me and you. Let's use like a mortgage partner, a lender. The last box that they need to check when they're setting up one of their clients is insurance, and so that's why it's best to partner up with lenders. I'm not saying that you can't build partnerships through the good old fashioned, just going to networking events and BNI groups, and like you can, however, you mix in the traditional way of connecting with these referral networks, but then you add them on social media, or you learn social media and you help them grow on social media. Now it's like
Mm.
they don't really care about how much about insurance. Like they really don't care about deductibles and what it's they don't really don't care. But if you can find a way to add value to their business, i.e., maybe you take the initiative, you learn social media, you figure out how it impacts your business, and then you go and help the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 um, lenders that they're gonna keep you as their insurance guy. So
Wow.
I don't I get that all the time. How do you know? Well, I don't
Right.
know. I don't know. I don't know exactly, but I know I post a lot and we get a lot of free business because of it. My marketing strategy isn't just tied to buying internet leads, although we do a lot of that. You
Yeah,
know, we
I
do a
get
lot
it.
of that.
Man,
So,
I thought we started with State Farm agents, right? And I thought they bought lead. Bro, I meet some of you Allstate cats, some of you farmer cat, bro. Y'all spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on leads. Some of these guys out here, like it's insane, you know.
yeah.
But the reason why I double clicked on that, Nick, was because that's what I was hoping to get to, was the fact that you're like, dude, I don't necessarily know, but my kid is on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. I stop at a stoplight. I look to the left or the right. one of those yahoos that are driving those cars are scrolling through their phone while the light is red, maybe even after the light turns green, right? And it's one of those things where it's like, it's not necessarily what's it cost you to do it, it's what's it cost you to not do it. Because
Right.
now, if we're not, I can't guarantee that every person in your market is going to think of you as the insurance go-to guru if you're posting on Facebook, Instagram, making content. But I can guarantee you, if you're not, you're definitely not the person they're thinking of when they think of insurance guru, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
and I had an agent tell me that when we were at Craig Wiggins' event in Vegas last fall. They're like, who are some agents you work with? I'm like, well, I help, a lot of the Allstate guys, but Kevin Span's probably our best like poster child. Dude gets it. He's posting a ton of content. And they're like, well, does he track his leads? I was like, no, he doesn't track his leads. Like, he just knows like this is part of building a brand, is getting massive number of impressions. They're like, well, of course you didn't track it. And I'm like, they like kind of like, like discredit it because you don't track it. I always tell the people, I'm
Yeah.
like, you can track impressions. And I know that if I run an ad for, a few $100s a month, I can get my face in front of 100,000 Facebook eyeballs, right? Like people that are seeing me there. Like where else? What, you're going to go to the newspaper? You're going to go to the TV station, the radio station? Those
Yeah.
places are not going to place you 100,000 times for less than
Yeah.
$500. Like there's no way. Um,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit. Like, are you putting some money into paid side, or are you guys just strictly organic? Like you have some paid ads running locally in your markets that you run in, or are you just like
Uh,
banging away on organic?
uh, I do a lot of organic. I encourage my team to post. I don't force,
Ooh,
social media is not for everybody. So
right. It's going to be
if
a good
they're
fit for the personality.
right, although I highly encourage it. So if they're not at the goal that they need, if they're not nowhere near their goal, like I'm gonna look at their social media presence. Well, they all follow me too, so it's not like I'm creeping on their stuff, right? Um,
Right.
but you know, not only that, like so, like let's just use an example. If I have a person that's struggling, they're not at their goal, and I look at their social media profile and they're posting a lot of political stuff. Just a stupid example. None of my people do this, but let's just say they're posting a lot of it, like MAGA, Trump 2024. And I'm like, you know, you ought to post, hit me up for a quote.
Right.
Like, what are you doing posting this? Or if I see my team if I walk by their desk and I see, that they're scrolling, or, it's like, well, that's interesting. You're not posting on social media. So,
What you
what
consuming?
are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And
Mm,
so put your phone away. Little things like that. I did create like a little I self-generate some of my own leads through social media as well.
okay.
And I'm offering that just to like nothing big. I don't promote it, but I do self-generate Spanish leads. Uh,
Wow. Okay.
and that's been huge for us. Where I've created the content, and me and my partner are running the ads on it. And
Nice.
so if you're interested in Spanish leads, you can go ahead and message me.
There you go.
Happy to help there. But so yeah, there is a paid route there. Um,
Nice.
but other than that, I am buying a lot of internet leads from other vendors as well.
Yeah. Are you worried about TCPA? Do you think it's gonna uproot anything at the end of the year?
Uh, Not with my strategy, I'm not too worried about it.
Okay.
Um, I'm not one, we'll wait and see. I
Right.
don't want to be I'm not getting into the lead game. I just been doing it for my agency, and
Yeah.
um, and so yeah.
I didn't know with you guys buying. I mean, like you like the leads that you buy. I didn't know, if any of that
Oh,
because
that's definitely going to affect lead vendors for sure. Um, how it'll impact me, I'm not too sure. But yeah, but we shall see.
yeah, it's all right. And you never know. I mean, things like that are in the political realm. Like I already kicked the can once. I could kick it again. It's all about like who shows up with the bigger checkbook, with with the politics thing. I do want to double click on something real quick too,
Yeah.
because when you were mentioning, like people are posting all these things, I think it's totally okay to post your political beliefs, whatever your beliefs are on social. I think what Nick is saying there is it's not necessarily don't post that. It's just give the right hook every once in a while. Like if all your friends and family are MAGA or anti-MAGA, it doesn't matter, right? Like whatever camp you're in, it's like, hey, if you also are like, hey, I sell insurance, by the way, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So if you're built a social media presence and your followers and your fans are around your belief system, ask them for business. I think that's the big thing here is that a lot of people just don't ever get out into the social media space and throw that right hook. So that's cool, man. I really appreciate you sharing that stuff. What's Nick Sakha going to be doing at the end of this decade? Obviously, you just dropped a nice little chunk of cheddar on a new studio. You don't do that and then not plan to make content, right? So I know you probably got some podcast goals and some content goals. What's the goal other than obviously keep growing the agency? I would think, right? But where are you? What's the next couple years look like for you, man? As we get middle of the decade into the decade, what's the big
Yeah.
goals that you want to share with the listeners?
Yeah. So, personal goals are, I was just married. I just got married recently. And we had we got pregnant the wedding weekend. So, we got I'm starting a family here in July 2024. So I'm really pumped about that.
Congrats, bro. Congrats. New
Thanks.
dad, new husband here as well. So we had our baby in April last year and got married in November. So
Hey,
yeah,
congrats.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
great journey, bro. You're gonna love it. I tell everybody my kid's the X factor. Like once that kid popped out, there was like some new levels that like just switched on in the back of my brain that was like, oh, I'm playing for keeps now. So that's exciting.
That,
So July, I think you said of next year or of this
yeah.
year.
Yeah, yeah. He said you unlock some new levels. That hunter gatherer kicked in, right? Yeah.
Damn right.
You know, so so I'm excited for that. We want to do some traveling before that time comes, So looking forward to going to Japan
Oh
in
wow. Very cool.
February and then Italy in March for our honeymoon. Japan is like not even booked yet, but I'm just kind of calling it. We might just send it. Um, but I'll tell you that, I've been putting out content on YouTube for the last I started it 3.5 years ago and 3 years ago. And, I've done my best to provide a lot of value there. And, I've had a lot of people reach out to me for help. And I wasn't ready to offer any of the, coaching or consulting. I'm more open to it now that my agency is established. I've got some really amazing leaders in here. And so the goal is keep the main thing the main thing, as we talked about.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
but, I filmed a course a year ago and I never dropped it. I just got so busy. We scaled into Oregon. We have an office in Oregon.
Oh
Um,
wow.
I bought my first investment property and used it for Airbnb. So like I have real estate goals. I have media goals. So I do want to continue to add value and build a strong community. And then a goal is I want to. I'm a part of a mastermind right now where
Mm,
one of my really good friends is what he's doing for the mortgage industry is something that I really want to do for the insurance industry, and that's to help them in this area of social media. So, kind of sounds like in alignment with some of the things you've got going on.
yeah,
Um,
man.
I think our industry is thirsty for help in this area, and so it's going to take folks like us to maybe help them. So,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's cool, bro. I love that. I'm a big fan of manifestation, and so sometimes I like to ask guests, like what's the goals? Because you put it out there, other people's heard it now, man. It's
oh yeah,
I think it's important that people understand that the universe works for us, not against us, right? It's trying to deliver, what we want and what will make our life better. It's not trying to keep us down, contrary to what a lot of people try to make us believe. It's funny. I'll send you after we get off this call. I'll send you a link. I just made a blog post today that was titled "They Lied to You," and it's literally to young men like us. And it said that they wanted you to think that it was the car, it was the money, it was the fame, it was the lust, and it's not really any of that. The real treasures in life are finding a woman that you can love and give your last name to and building a family, man. Because before I had my kid, my wife, like, I was like, it's like, let's build a business. And it's, now I'm like, I feel like after 16 years of being an entrepreneur, I'm just now to the starting line. You know what I mean? I feel like I got all of the right stuff behind me now to like really push me forward. So I'll send that to you. I think you might like that. But man, dude, I appreciate you coming on the Sales Factory, dude. This has been fun. I appreciate you sharing information with people. Just to recap, don't catch yourself doing too much. Stay focused. Keep the main thing the main thing. Uh, Encourage your team to bang on social media. I don't see, I tell agents that all the time. It's like I hate social media. I'm never even on Facebook. I had one guy tell me, he's like, I despise Zucks. I'll never do social media. I'm like, that's a stupid reason to not like grow your business through it. But we tell them all the time, it's like, you don't have to. Like that kid, oh, none of my team members want to do it. I'm like, bruh, that guy that works for you in the front office is 24 years old. I promise you he's on social media. So getting your team involved, I think was really, really big. The other thing that I wrote down is like, you don't have to track every last penny of social media for time because of the impact that it has. I mean, it's you guys are, if you're listening to this, if you're an agent that's listening to this cat just told you that's built a multi-million-dollar agency, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars from online referrals coming from building a brand. It's so powerful. The other thing that I really like, Nick, that you talked about was the power of investing in your brand. Like you don't make that studio if you don't want to build your brand. And your brand has changed, right? Like maybe it's sell insurance, but a brand can be multifaceted, right? Like Tiger Woods, like you think of golf, right?
Yeah.
Like Nick Sakha, you think of insurance, but there's other things. There's probably charities. If you dig deep into Tiger's brand, there's charities that he helps. You dig deep into your brand, there's going to be insurance agents that you help. So I love that, man. I always love a guy that lives a life of service as well, because I think that's an awesome thing to do, man. So if people want to find you on social, what's the best way to do? If they want to contact you, reach out to you, maybe have you on their podcast, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, or Instagram and TikTok is Nick Sakha, Sakha, and then Facebook and LinkedIn is Nicholas Sakha, and YouTube is Nicholas Sakha. So I'm not hard to find, just a quick little Google search, and you'll find me.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, dude, thanks for coming on the Sales Factory podcast. Appreciate you having me. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'll have to get you on my show next time you're in Vegas.
Oh, love it. Well, I'll be there in September for Craig's event, so we'll make that happen, man.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool,
Thanks for
bro.
having me.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. Well, this has been another episode of the Sales Factory podcast. I'm your host, Coach Carroll. We had Nick Sakha in the Sales Factory today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you on the next one. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening to it on. Helps us get more exposure, more eyeballs, and help more people. Hustle, it's worth it.